All right, continuing on now. I'm glad you're here for the conversation on America's Voice Live. Now, during the pandemic, gun stores in Los Angeles were shut down. They were closed and called non-essential, but now a federal judge, in fact, a panel of judges, ruling that the decision is unconstitutional. The three-judge panel says Los Angeles and Ventura counties violated the Second Amendment. In the ruling, Judge Lawrence Van Dyke wrote that the Second Amendment, quote, means nothing if the government can prohibit all persons from acquiring any firearm or ammunition. Joining me is the president of the Crime Prevention Research Center, Dr. John Lott. He wrote the book on guns, literally several of them, in fact. Doctor, good to see you.
Great to talk to you. Thanks for having me on.
I think this is a pretty significant ruling. First of all, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, as you well know, is sometimes referred to as the Ninth Circus. It is considered to be the most liberal, the most progressive of all the federal courts of appeal. And yet here's a three-judge panel saying quite clearly, you can't just shut gun stores because there's a pandemic. I mean, what is your reaction, and what was it when you saw it?
Well, the battle's not over. This was a unanimous decision by these three judges, but the orders from Los Angeles and Ventura counties closed down gun stores and shooting ranges, even while they allowed places like bike shops to be open. And despite rising crime that we've seen in 2020 and again this last year in Los Angeles and Ventura, they made it impossible for people to exercise their ability to defend themselves and their families. Made it impossible for them to get a gun or even try to get a concealed handgun permit or even buy ammunition. As I said, the judge's decision was unanimous there. They were very upset that the counties didn't even try to justify why they were shutting down gun stores as opposed to the rules that they had for other types of operations. Unfortunately, as you say, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals is dominated by Democrats. These three judges just happened to be Republican judges that were there. Two of them were Trump appointees. And as Judge Van Dyke, who wrote the opinion, as you mentioned, wrote himself, he anticipates that the entire circuit will have what they call an en banc appeal to it, where the entire circuit, which is dominated by Democrats, will vote the other way. And one of the things that he said was that no matter what types of gun control measures come out of California, the Ninth Circuit approves them. The issue is going to be whether the Supreme Court takes up this case and will then reverse the Ninth Circuit.
So, but there's no guarantee of that. I mean, it's hard to. I mean, I don't know. I don't get where these progressive justices come from. But if you have a constitutional right, but you effectively block any access to that right, it's no right at all. I mean, so if you, and by doing that, there is no right, there is no availability to the general public to exercise constitutional rights. I don't know how anybody could find otherwise, but obviously they do these things every day, don't they?
I mean, I agree with you. If you have a right to self-defense, but we don't allow you to have the means to be able to go and do that, we don't even allow you to go and buy ammunition or train or get a concealed handgun permit or anything else for some period of time. It's pretty much a meaningless right. And somehow the county said that bike shops were essential services for people to be able to have, but your ability to defend yourself when, everybody acknowledges the huge increase in murder and violent crime that was occurring in these counties in 2020 and 2021. The problem is with the Supreme Court hearing this is the Supreme Court virtually always requires what they call conflicting decisions by different circuit courts. And I don't think any of these other cases, because 25 states basically either completely stopped or virtually completely stopped, for example, giving out concealed handgun permits during the pandemic. And but those cases really never made it past the lower level, the district courts that were there. I don't know of any conflicts that are there now. Is it possible that the Supreme Court could take it up anyway? Yeah, it's possible. But you have to realize there's about 96,000 cases a year which are heard by the different circuit courts across the country. Of those, only about 65 to 70 of them get to the Supreme Court. I hope, and I agree with you, it seems like an obvious case here.
To me, it seems like an obvious case too, but like you point out, it gets bogged down because if they go en banc and the entire Ninth Circuit votes on it, and they go the other way from the three-judge panel, which is possible, if not likely, what impact would that have on other states that are very left of center, states like Illinois or the state of Washington or Oregon? Could they shut down gun stores for a flood or bad weather or anything else that they determine as some detrimental impact on the community? So, well, we need to shut you down. I mean, it opens a Pandora's box, does it not?
I think these guys are smart. They're strategic. And you've seen it in a number of other cases where they take strategic views. And my guess is they're going to look at the composition of their circuit courts because they're not going to want to create conflicting decisions that would then make it a case that the Supreme Court would be likely to hear. So my guess is as Biden gets more judges on the courts, and he's been getting judges confirmed at record rates. People talk about all the judges that Trump got on the bench, but Biden, during his first year, got twice as many federal judges on the bench.
And why is that? Yeah, that's a good point you make. I've heard that, but why?
Well, because Democrats did everything they possibly could to slow down all Trump's appointments. People talk about Republicans not thinking that the election was legitimate in 2020. Well, Democrats, all the U.S. Senate Democrats, were arguing that Trump's election wasn't legitimate. And so every nominee that Trump had, not just to the courts, but everything else, they slowed down to a crawl. I mean, it was taking 6, 8, 9, 10 months to get even the most uncontroversial nominees through. And that not only slowed down cabinet level, sub-cabinet level positions, but it slowed down
everything.
Right.
Yeah, it gummed up the works. And I guess I would ask, why are Republicans not doing the same? But apparently they're not, Doctor. I'll give you the last word.
Right. Well, I think the Republicans are worried that they're going to be attacked mercilessly in the press. You just look at the coverage on things like the election fraud issue. Every time they talk about it, they say, false or fake information. It's okay, I guess, if the media uses those editorial terms in their news articles. And I think most Republicans, or at least a significant number of Republicans, don't want to get into that fight. But you even see people like Lindsey Graham on the Judiciary Committee has voted consistently.
He's voted for every Biden nominee so far. So, we'll just have to leave it there. Lindsey Graham, we'll keep an eye on him. Dr. John Lott, always appreciate it, sir. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
There you have it, Dr. John Lott. Crime prevention, he's the crime prevention research president. Crimeresearch.org, you can always find out more.